Hi people and hello my Chili Con Carnage crew, it's Chili here for a 5-minute review on Neil Young's newest album, Chrome Dreams. There are three things that are certain in life: taxes, death, and Neil Young's archives are just filled with a treasure trove of unreleased material. Or rather, the unreleased material is a kind of a question mark. You see, Chrome Dreams is an album that has been a widely sourced bootleg that has been released for decades, but has never been actually released by Neil Young himself. Chrome Dreams is Neil Young's 44th album, and that's very impressive considering the guy's career. He is, of course, one of the most iconic rock singers around the world, especially from Canada, and has released so many albums over his years that have been influential to many decades of music. Even, of course, the grunge movement in the 90s, where he is referred to as the grandfather of grunge. But at the end of the day, Chrome Dreams was this record that was actually recorded all the way back in 1977 during the Zuma era, but was never released. For some reason, it just was never released. Bootlegs would emerge soon after and were just spread around the community, but Chrome Dreams itself as an album was never released by Neil Young up until very recently. In fact, Chrome Dreams even had a follow-up album in 2007 called Chrome Dreams 2. This despite the fact that the original Chrome Dreams technically was never released. So yes, this album released in 2023 is technically a prequel. I guess the easiest way you can think about it is Star Wars. You know, this is the prequels, episodes 1, 2, and 3, everyone. So Chrome Dreams has a lot of tracks on offer here, and all of these have been released in some way or another on various other albums. In fact, really, if you look at, for example, American Stars and Bars, most of the tracks are on this album. You have Pocahontas, which of course was on the Hitchhiker record, Will to Love, which was on American Stars and Bars, as well as Star of Bethlehem, Like a Hurricane, and Homegrown. All of these tracks are on there. You have other ones like Too Far Gone, which was on the Freedom album, Captain Kennedy, which was on Hawks and Doves, and Look Out for My Love, which appears on Comes a Time. There are two tracks which were released live on Rust Never Sleeps, which were Powderfinger and Sedan Delivery. So every single one of these tracks has been released, of course, on various albums of his. And I've got to say, Chrome Dreams plays out like a best of, because there are so many tracks here that we have known for years and enjoyed as well. Starting off with Pocahontas, a fantastic effort, Like a Hurricane, of course, one of the biggest standouts, and Powderfinger, which even the Australian band Powderfinger took note of this song and named themselves after that effort. So there are a lot of tracks here that are just phenomenal. And it makes me wonder, of course, for example, out of the 12 tracks, I think 5 of them were on the American Stars and Bars album, how different his career would have looked moving forward if Chrome Dreams had come out. Because I really do feel like this would have been one of his finest albums to release. I've been enjoying this album, I've been playing it constantly, and it feels so right. It's absolutely great to hear. As for the questions, how does this compare to some of the other tracks that have been released? Think of it like, I guess, demos. It's not that bad in quality, it's actually very good. Neil Young's demos are really fantastic, and I guess you would kind of say this isn't quite demo territory, but there is a fine-tuned editing in regards to this era compared to stuff moving forward like American Stars and Bars. It is noticeable, albeit very tiny. Other songs, for example, like Sedan Delivery is slowed down compared to the live version that can be found on Rust Never Sleeps, and of course Powderfinger. It's fantastic to hear a studio version of this track. Overall, I don't think there's really any dead air on this album. In fact, this might be one of my favourite Neil Young albums. And it's really not a surprise, considering that, in the past couple of years, he has released some of his back catalogue that has been absolutely impressive. For example, Homegrown was released only a couple of years ago, and this dates back to 73, I think, around about the time of Harvest. These back catalogues of Neil Young are just so impressive to hear after all this time. To think that we could have got these things back in the day, and now they're only just coming out, it's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. Overall, I'll be giving this album a score of 11 million chilies on the spicy scale, with my favourite tracks being Pocahontas, Will to Live, Like a Hurricane, Hold Back the Tears, Sedan Delivery, and Powderfinger. Yes, it's great to hear these songs being released as almost like a time capsule in Neil Young's career. It would have been impressive to hear this back in the day and after all these years, but again, I digress. Imagine how different that would have been moving forward. After all, the 80s were not very kind to him, and that's because, well, he kind of had his reasons for what he was doing in the 80s. Yes, I think this has the ability to be one of his finest records to date. You know, I'm kind of curious because I would love to go over Neil Young's back catalogue with Wazza, like the way we did it for Santana. If I get enough comments regarding that, I may just give that a shot because that is a mammoth effort to take under. Thank you for checking out this episode of 5 Minute Reviews. Make sure to leave us a like if you enjoyed this episode, subscribe if you can, and as always people, you have a great day and stay spicy. Thank you for tuning in to this episode of Live Listen Erased. And if you have enjoyed this episode, make sure you share it with all your friends. Don't forget to subscribe to our Chili Con Carnage crew so you can get notified for all the future videos that we put out, as we put out videos every Friday. Also, we are on Discord, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter over at Live Listen Erased, so make sure to tune in over there. And don't forget to like this video so that our manager can stay very happy.